The middle-aged man struck continuously at the big stone as the girl child, armed with a mangled metal carrier, waited for her turn to fetch broken granites and climb up the makeshift steps of the uneven large pit to hand it over to another boy whose job was to ferry it to the next carrier, an adult. It was around noon on a Friday, and while their peers were learning in school, children, parentless and poverty-stricken, were in the belly of a granite pit working to make a buck, because if they do not, food will elude them back at home or wherever it is they retire for the night. Some were there out of necessity, for some, it was compulsory, for most, it was circumstantial. But the children have two things in common: they are missing out on an education and are being exposed to hazardous substances which portend grave danger to their health in years to come. To silent, discreet observers, it was a sad sight to take in, but for them, it's a reality they must live, a routine they've become accustomed to. This is the story of disadvantaged children and orphans who work side by side adults in lead mining and granite crushing sites in Ebonyi, bereft of protective gears and air purifying respirators, in a bid to eke out a living, help their mothers, and put themselves through school. Shall we begin? Despite posing as a buyer, this reporter was keenly watched and his movement was closely trailed. Artisanal miners are cagey and can be violent because most of them are operating illegally, hence the apprehension and paranoia that accompany their interaction with strangers. Journalists, on the other hand, dare not introduce themselves, else they'd be asked to leave, and failure to do so will attract a hostile treatment. Standing atop the mine at Arkposi Umuofera in Ezar North Lga, and looking down at the granite pit from over 80 feet above, you could never miss the figures of children consumed in their tasks. With forlorn faces, they carried out their tasks with the precision of workers who have plenty practice. Children taking turns to fetch stones out of the pit. At the lowest edge of the pit, one of the children, a young girl, bared a half-smile that faded almost as swiftly as it appeared. After failing to get reciprocity, she looked away. A group of mothers observing their rest had noticed the nonverbal interaction with the child. One shouted in Igbo, "Give me money for pure water." Women and child laborers in lead mines and granite crushing sites are paid between N200 and N500 per day, depending on the power of negotiation, if any. Later, the ease of Arkposi, Anthony Joku, said the situation where mothers bring their children to work in mines is a direct result of abject penury and the need to find a way to make money to eat. There is serious poverty around here. People are suffering. Some of these women take their children to the mine, so it is like a family business, he said. You cannot tell these women anything about education or that a disease will kill them and their children in 20 years when they have nothing to eat today. Some of the children working in the mines,